Shame. Shame.
All right.
Dude, where do you want to start with so last week I said that our recap show could just be you and I staring at each other and like
I joked that this should start with all of us acting like we're dead.
Correct.
appropriate.
That was utterly insane. I guess we started at the beginning.
My reaction on the internet was the Vince McMahon falling over out of his chair gif, like, because it was just, like, it was hit after hit after hit.
Yeah, I couldn't believe. So how far into, by the way, the whole soundtrack for the season is now on Spotify.
Yeah, it is.
And I believe it's track 7, The Faith of the Seven, is the score that you heard last night.
Oh my
which
God.
was utterly haunting.
Yeah.
How many minutes into that prep did you realize what was going on? Because it took me a minute. It took me, when I say a minute, it took me several minutes.
Okay.
To figure out that she was gonna effing do that.
Yeah. So I think when I realized that she was putting on her armor, her Michael Jackson concert armor,
which was awesome.
Tina Turner and Battle Dome, like, it's just like
What a
armor.
Yeah.
So it was when she had the chain clipped. Is that when you were finally like,
then I'm like,
holy
and
shit?
and she was drinking wine, like,
Yeah.
okay.
Pouring the cup of wine,
Yeah.
I was just like, no, seriously.
Yeah.
So we've been listening all basically for the last 10 weeks. The internet's been positive that she was going to burn down the fucking church.
Yeah. Like, yep.
And I've been like, no, I don't. They didn't really bring it up.
It seemed too implausible, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
and then it turned out that apparently sometime in the last 3 seasons, Weiss and Benioff were in a writer's room and they were like, hey, we need to clear out like 12 of these characters in King's Landing
Like that.
in the next couple seasons.
Yeah.
And it turns out that they did it all at once. And
one of the only people that knew it was coming was Natalie Dormer, whatever.
Marjorie Tyrell.
Marjorie, yeah, because she actually asked, she asked them, I want out in season 5. Like, I've got this project that I want to do that I can't do if I'm in for season 6. And they're like, well, sorry, you can't, but good news, you're done in season 6.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Just that, so
That entire build up.
it was basically lifted out of The Godfather, first of all.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
it was shot
Exactly.
just like a mob movie.
Yeah.
And it was
so last week,
gorgeous.
which speaks so much for Miguel Sapochnik, the director.
Yeah.
Last week he did Braveheart. This week he did
The
Godfather.
That moment where Marjorie was like, I know exactly what's gonna happen. We need to leave, and it's like, no, she never. Like, I felt so bad. Like, mainly because I always feel bad for the one character who's like,
Who knows?
like,
Yep.
oh yeah, no, I'm seeing the dominoes fall.
Yeah.
We need to leave, and then was like,
It was her own fault because she gave up her position of power when she sided with the High Sparrow.
I guess it was just really cleverly done narratively and from a character standpoint. That Cersei gathered all of her enemies into one place. Everyone that's hurt her within 100 miles of King's Landing was in that church.
Was in there. Yeah.
And then she set it on fire.
She blew it the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, that's. I was already reeling from that, seeing that happen, and like.
Then Tommen jumps.
And then Tommen
oh my
jumps.
God! I
just
feel like I still haven't processed that. It's been 3 days.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I kind of thought it might be coming, like his death was coming, because he was wearing nothing but gold, right? And with that prophecy of gold being the downfall of your children, so I was like, okay, he's gonna get it this episode. I had no idea how and why, and like it's really depressing because obviously Cersei is so in love with or loves her children so much, and then to be the fact that she wasn't there to console him when this happened, and she made the choice to make it happen, so it's all her fault.
Yeah, well, I think that speaks to Cersei has seen a lot of movement in the last 3 or 4 seasons as a character in losing her children.
Right.
And she started out with, when she had 3 of them, I'll do anything to protect these children. And in the last 2 seasons since Joff died, she's really taken a lot of personal power and a lot of these things personally, rather
Right.
than putting the realm first, rather than even putting your kids first. So what she did was she sent a zombie to go forbid him from leaving his room,
Right.
while she sipped a nice Dornish red
Yep.
and watched her pipe bomb blow up.
Yep.
You know, and kill 400, 500 people.
Easy.
Yeah, at least. So it's hard to not sympathize with Cersei the mother, who's the murderer of her children and the forced marriage to an awful man that she hated.
Right.
Drove her kind of crazy, but you still blame crazy people for killing people.
Right.
And that's where my sympathy kind of ends. It's really after after I thought about Tommen dying for a little while, I realized it was really fitting and really poetic, and it closes Cersei's circle nicely to where next season we're ready for anything to happen to her.
Yeah.
We're ready for the vengeance to come.
Right.
And Lena Headey's going to play it well,
Oh, she's
but I don't
fantastic,
think we'll
yeah.
be very sympathetic towards her anymore.
No, I don't think that that's going to happen anymore. And I think that this episode really hammered that in. I mean, just if you go watch the 3 reaction scenes when Joffrey dies and she reacts, when Marcella dies and she reacts, and then when Tommen dies she
Yeah.
reacts. Like the emotion is lessened. And
Yeah.
like with Tommen's death, she didn't even care. Like she's probably there's still a little bit of her that cares, but like it was so cold.
She's burned out now.
Yeah, exactly. She was just numb to it.
And she's not stupid. So she had to know, like, if I do this, this is going to happen. Like, maybe not, like, I hope it doesn't happen, but
Well, she knew there'd be a reaction,
yeah.
certainly.
Sure, and and with speaking on the prophecy, I think we should move on from King's Landing. But speaking from the prophecy, there are 2 parts of that prophecy left, at least from the show. One of them is that a younger, more beautiful queen will usurp her, and so obviously Dany, and then
Obviously, huh?
obviously Dany.
Okay.
Yep.
Are
And
you
then,
banking on the beautiful part there?
and younger and yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
I'll debate that Lena Headey's prettier than Emilia
sure.
Clarke all day long.
Okay.
First of all,
Okay, and then
I was excited about the Shea Bell episode. Okay,
okay.
it was a body double though. Don't
Yeah,
even-
yeah.
Saddest day of the internet.
sorry, buddy.
Shakes his head in shame.
Yeah,
Hey-o.
hey. And then that she will be killed by her little brother.
Yeah. Well, no. The prophecy is that it's a monkey demon, and
The direct Valyrian translation is little brother
okay,
from the show.
sure.
So
I would be very surprised if it takes Jaime or Tyrion to actually kill Cersei.
well, here's the thing. She's on Arya's list,
Yeah.
and Arya can change faces.
Yeah, so it could be Jaime or Tyrion
Correct.
on her face. So we'll get to Arya. One last thing about Cersei. I wanted to make this point. If this was a Godfather scene lifted out of the Godfather or a mob movie or something like that,
Sure.
this is how the mob boss ends. This is the tragic fall of every mob boss, alone,
Right.
stripped of allies.
Correct.
The choices you've made have come back on you tenfold.
Yep.
And been repaid, and now you're going down.
And we kind of get that look at the end there when she sits on the Iron Throne from Jaime. Like I think that look is one of disgust.
Maybe I just saw 2 insanely good-looking people catching.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I caught that too. It was a look of, I can't follow you here.
Yeah.
Like, you've gone too far.
Yeah, and we'll see. It's going to be one of the most interesting, probably episode 1-2 side plots. I don't know how far it's going to get. I don't know how long we're going to see Lena Headey. It's going to suck
Well,
to be.
the directors have come, or Weiss and Benioff have come out and said that she is a main character and one of the main focuses of season 7. So
Okay, hopefully.
so she'll probably be there the whole time. I would assume until the end. I think.
Yep.
I think she gets it in the end next season.
Or they could kill her in episode 4 like they did the Purple Wedding. and
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could have a full basic season after that.
Right. So next, I mean, where do we even go after that? Like, where did the actual show go?
We went to Winterfell, didn't we?
Yeah. couple times. Yep. So.
Oh no, we went to the other Lannister. We went to Tyrion.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
Tyrion and Dany.
Yes.
Nice little
Hand of the Queen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
little moment. And there's not much to say about it other than it was really subtly acted by Dinklage and Clark.
It was beautiful, and that moment between the two of them, and there's a shot where they're just both sitting on those steps together.
They're really vulnerable.
Yeah.
And because of the budgetary limitations of the show, I'm sure they'd love to have every scene be an open plaza scene with her addressing the CGI'd millions.
Right.
But to have her be able and to want her to display, that kind of vulnerability out in public, but to have this nice little staid, very domestic scene of these two people expressing vulnerability to each other and learning to lean on each other a little bit, when, especially after Dany had just closed the door on a relationship where she
Dario.
had realized she was pulling away from the vulnerability that she'd expressed in the previous seasons with him.
Right. Just a quick aside on that. It's weird to me for her to be like, I have to leave you here because you're a liability with Dario, and then to be like, Tyrion, you're my hand of the Queen. And the last thing that you did in Westeros, according to everyone who's in Westeros, was kill your father and kill the king.
Yeah. But she's coming as a conqueror anyways, acknowledging that she's going to marry into at least one alliance. If part of her plan is smashing the Lannister army, it makes sense to put a Lannister at the Rock at least.
Sure.
I buy that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
and
all they have to do is
Tyrion
say
is infinitely more valuable than Dario.
Oh, yeah,
As
100%.
a counselor, as a mainlander.
Yeah. Do you think that it was a good idea to leave the Second Sons, that's one of the pieces of her army, just in Marine?
My question would be, who is she going to have administer Marine in her place? You can trust mercenaries to be greedy, and if she installs them as a government, they're going to be greedy, but their only edict is to don't have slaves.
Right.
So maybe they'll make it Vegas.
That'd be great.
The Luxor's a pyramid.
Yeah,
Just top the thing with glass, put a spotlight in it.
100% perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. So then we go to Winterfell.
Right.
Winterfell retaken.
Yeah. So that was the great thing from the very beginning of the episode. In the intro, the actual intro, when they put
the wolf back on it.
Yeah, which
yeah,
I mean,
that was great.
First time I've ever teared up before the episode even started.
Yeah, I saw your Facebook post on that. That was great. So Jon and Sansa, foreshadowing what will come later on in the episode, when Jon says that he got the Lord's Chamber prepared for her, and she said that it belonged to him.
Right.
He replies, "I'm no Stark." She says, "You are to me."
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, great little moment. Sophie Turner, who I did not respect much as a performer going into this season.
Okay.
Not that I have a ton of respect for Kit Harington as a performer. He's fine.
Sure.
But then I saw her in X-Men. Really enjoyed her there. Thought she was charming.
Yeah.
And came into this season with a little bit more open mind. And I feel like she's shown in nearly every scene she's had this season.
Yeah.
And again there.
Yeah.
Just being able to lean into Jon and apologize in a way that made it clear that while she was apologizing, she wasn't sorry.
Right.
I'm apologizing for doing it this way, but I'm not sorry we won, because we did, and it was because of me.
Right.
And I figured, I wish they would have addressed it. Like, if Jon had known he had the Knights of the Vale, he would have just screwed it up.
Certainly.
Yeah. So it's like, I had to have this in my back pocket because you don't know him like I do,
and
you couldn't plan for it.
The unacknowledged weakness in Jon's whole lordship or commandership, generalship of this army has been the fact that Tormund Giantsbane is the best fighter, the best general, and clearly the best baby eater.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to put a label on it,
Yeah, but he's led men, and normally he's just Jon's mouthpiece, when literally you should be unwrapping that parchment and being like, Tormund, where do we put our little knife men?
Right. In the books, probably. In the show, not so much.
Well, in the show, the loudest dude in the room is the best general.
Yeah. Just because
they never really talk about it.
Yeah, it's just because they the way they portrayed him before the Battle of the Bastards, when they're like, it's a pincer move. we're gonna hit him from the sides. Like he had to like dumb down the terms
Yeah.
so that he could understand what it meant.
Sure. So big whiff here. No memorial for 1-1.
Right.
I just wanted one big mound, like a Sleeping Bear Dune style mound for 1-1.
we tried to bury him in the ground. It just
Yeah,
didn't-
and they're just like, we just kept throwing pine rushes on it. And it stinks, we're not gonna lie. It is rough.
Yeah, they probably just
Just
threw
like, or maybe like a team of oxen like pulling the body out.
yeah, they must
which
have
would
done.
be
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Because, yeah, it's going to take at least 20
Oh,
guys. You
right.
know? It's a giant.
That was great. So then we finally see a fucking breath of fresh air. Sam's back.
Yes. Woo!
In a scene, and we're going to talk about, we talked about Braveheart was last week, and then The Godfather was the beginning of the show. This was lifted straight out of, like, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I
That
do
scene.
want to be. Was that before or after the Red Witch scene?
But after, I think.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Because
Yeah.
I know the scene with Sansa and John happened, and then the next scene in Winterfell was.
Yeah, the Red Woman scene, which we can just do it next then.
Yeah.
So we get to Sam.
That was so nice.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And like, what is it about high fantasy novels and dudes named Sam that are
Right.
just like,
They're just
oh,
good guys."
Sam's here,
Yeah.
right? And he takes
Isn't
that
the name Sam
yeah.
in general?
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey,
and
Sam.
he
you
takes
know?
that deep breath and he's like, hello.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I loved it so much.
I liked the
your
no
books.
sell from the guy running the book. Like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that dude was the best guy, the best extra they've had since the Cal that had to admit that among the 5 greatest things in life was seeing a woman naked.
Yeah.
That was that dude was so great. Thank you for bringing that up, Jesse, because it was a scene-stealing moment where
Yeah.
that guy was just stonewalling him.
yep. Up
Also-
until the woman started. I was like, no children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's finally flustered.
Yeah.
We come full circle with the Red Woman
Right.
being banished, which sucks because we're not going to be utterly horrified by the sight of her naked body anymore
Right.
as an old woman.
Right, but this leads, she's in the wind. We don't know where she's gonna go. She's not just gonna disappear off the show. Like she's too significant to just go away. So what impact is she gonna have in the future? Do you think?
Oh, we're just going to go right into predictors. We don't want to talk about Davos and his shaking dude.
That scene was
Give that man an
powerful.
Emmy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what when I said I didn't have a ton of respect for Kit Harington as an actor. I don't want to take really away from him, but he's been in the same room as a dude playing Davos for the whole season.
Yeah.
And the dude's just acting his ass off.
Yeah.
Dude, just freaking firing flamethrowers.
Yeah.
good.
He that scene where he's and you killed her. Like I was
Yeah.
like, oh my
Yeah.
god, like I'm.
Shoot him!
The gods told me to. It's like, what did it matter? It's
Yeah.
like, what did it matter?
Yeah.
Like,
You still lost anyway.
So
Yeah.
well, it was basically 2 people acknowledging that one party was wrong, while because Melisandre knew she was wrong,
right.
but she thought she was wrong for the right reasons,
I mean, she even backpedaled to the point where she was like, "But Stannis did it too."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And,
which is a great point.
right.
yeah. But I mean, he countered back immediately. They're dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're dead. You're
So,
not.
So John, basically, he's so much like Rob, which scares me.
Oh, is that what you think? Okay, go ahead.
Just because,
Sure.
just because the right thing to do here is to banish her, maybe kill her right there, maybe hang her.
Well, Rob did kill people, and that's what lost him the North.
So did John.
Yeah.
John.
So,
straight up
well,
killed
maybe
those
if the
people at
Red Woman
wall.
brought Rob back, he wouldn't cut those Karstark's heads off,
Right.
save the North again.
Yeah, right. But John is very much leading in a righteous way, basically, which is the same thing that Rob was doing. Which I mean, you want the good guys to do that, but traditionally in the show that means they're going to die.
Sure, I think at least for the next little while, John's probably safe.
Yeah.
You asked where she's going. Where do you think she's going?
I hope she finds Gendry. To be honest with you.
Okay, we'll cut that. We're not actually going to cut it, but I don't think Gendry's ever going to be in the show, man.
You don't think he's going to come
No,
back
I don't think so. I think she's going to end up at the Wall.
at the wall?
He told her to ride south, but he just told her to leave the North, basically. Well, the world stops at the Wall. It's the edge of the world, and I think she's going to become the Black Woman. I think she's going to take the black. That renounces all vows.
That makes sense with where her character's going right now.
And she can do the most good there. Up with
Confusion.
Dolorous Ed too.
So
Like
she's gonna pull a Gandalf.
a little bit of what coming to you now at the turn of the tide or changing colors.
Changing
colors.
Yeah.
Like, spat that out.
You guys don't just say that in everyday conversation. Oh.
I prefer
No, like-
Ed
So
Dawn
that-
to the
that-
west.
that's-
I know. I brought a
gonna
tray
be a
of
preview
watermelon
clip,
to dinner
right?
the other night, and it was
Yeah.
like, I come to you now at the turn of the tide.
No, she might be who ends up being the Red Woman for Dany also, because if she does go south, she might go to Dorne, which is probably where Dany. This is for later, but I think that's where Dany's going. Is Dorne.
Okay, sure. I don't see her sliding into any socket as easily, unless I could see her going to King's Landing and finding her ultimate fate next to Cersei.
Yeah.
Or Jaime even, siding with one of the two Lannisters.
Sure.
Because the Seven Kingdoms definitely still needs the Red Faith, and if Jon's exiled her from that, then and it should be said that her and Thoros of Myr do run into each other in the books.
Oh, okay.
So that'd be cool to see finally two Red Priests interact.
Sure, and which is probably where let's get it right into Arya, I guess.
Oh wait, no, let's do Bran first, man.
Oh, do you want to do Bran first? You want to go into Tower of Joy?
I-
Yeah, it's so easy. That's with 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Bran realizes he's a three-eyed raven. He touches the werewood, and then he watches Jon get born.
Yeah. So
There we go. Boom, bing, bang, boom. Internet over.
Yeah. Obviously, we're going to talk about this a little bit more because it has been a fan theory for like 25 years.
Yeah.
For R
Yeah.
plus L equals J, which is Rhaegar Targaryen or his father or Robert. Because we still don't have confirmation on who the father is. It's probably Rhaegar. And Lyanna Stark had a baby, and that's Jon. So he does have Stark blood. He does have Targaryen blood. That's pretty much been confirmed.
Yeah, that he would be then
And also,
he'd be Dany's niece or nephew. He'd be
Nephew.
Dany's nephew.
If
And
it was
Targaryens
Rhaegar.
marry blood to blood, so he would be the natural king of Westeros.
right.
I figured that much as soon as she was like, marriage is kind of a way to build bonds.
Yeah, that's just setting up for Jon and Sansa. So suitors for Dany, Jon, Jaime, Tyrion potentially. What else we
You're
have?
missing the best one, man. Valeria Sand.
Okay. yeah,
Dany totally swings both ways.
Right.
So
Yara.
she could totally marry Valeria Sand and Jon, combined wedding. They go down to Dorne for a nice little honeymoon, and then they bring the dragons up to the wall and they bring down all the others. Wrap it up in a nice little bow.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Maybe
But,
that's Game of Thrones right there.
Yeah.
He nailed it.
George R. R. Martin's
It's
watching
Game
this
7
now.
all over
Damn
again.
it!
Yeah.
yeah, I did text Sean during the when Arya killed Lord
Walder.
Frey, which we might as well
Yeah.
get to.
Yeah.
We can circle back around to Jon if you want, but I feel like we can
One
get
other-
back to that in the recap.
There's
the
one other
season
thing.
Recap. Go
There's
ahead.
one other thing. He was born under a bleeding star.
Sure, we're all born under bleeding stars. What stars don't bleed? Sean.
No. So
Shawn Michaels
Dawn.
is the only bleeding star I follow.
Dawn, Sir Arthur Dayne's sword,
Yeah.
was prominent in the shot when Ned set it down on the bed, and there's a star on the hilt, and there's blood on the bed.
There was also a comet when Jon was born that cut across the sky in a red wave.
Okay, didn't know that.
Just, yeah.
Okay.
In the astrology of Westeros.
Gotcha.
Jesse, go ahead.
Well, if we're going to talk about Arya, because I actually have the first real moment of Game of Thrones I've ever watched was the Red Wedding.
Okay.
So it was the only, like I walked into it when we lived together and
Yeah.
a roommate was watching it.
You're
and
like,
I knew it was, as soon as I
What's
sat
this
down,
show?
I was like,
is this Eyes Wide Shut? I thought
no,
I was
like-
completely wrong
like,
about this
oh,
movie.
this is Game of Thrones. I'm like, I was like, oh God, this is the wedding.
Yeah,
Oh God,
this
this
is-
is the Red Wedding.
Yes.
And then I watched the entirety of it, and I saw that last bit with Arya where she's like trying to still get in, and the Hound has to
Hound.
knock her out.
Yeah.
Like I wanted that moment of vengeance, and then
Yeah.
when I finally
You finally saw it. You
Saw it.
watched 2 episodes of Game of Thrones, and you were resident. Both of them.
Three.
resident.
Bookends, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Jesse.
and so to have that moment of like, I squealed when she ripped off her face, and like, and I think it wasn't the line, you will die seeing a smiling Stark above you.
Yeah.
Something like that. I was like,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, because the Starks have always
It does scare
always
me.
been
a
like
little
the noble. That's kind of like, here's the family you could at least root for. So kind of seeing bits of that slide away.
Yeah.
Yeah. As Martin's super known for wanting to manipulate.
Yeah.
Traditional hero
yeah,
tropes.
it made me sad a little bit, but at the same time, it was like, it's a righteous kill
Yeah,
still.
oh, absolutely. But again, it does worry me a little bit because like she got the crazy eyes when she was just holding the head and just letting him bleed out. Like,
Well, wouldn't you if
Isn't
you
it
were
impossible to
killing-
not have the crazy
Yeah.
eyes in that
Yeah.
moment?
First of all,
like you slaughtered the remainder of my family?
no, we wouldn't, because that's an insane thing to think about, Jesse. What do you mean? What, you would totally do that? I don't know. I kind of hope not.
Yeah.
You've never thought of slaughtering your enemies to
When
revenge
you're holding
revenge
a
your
severed head, you're going to have the crazy eyes.
It wasn't
it wasn't
severed.
severed,
It was
it was
only the
just
neck.
throat
It's only the jugular.
Yeah.
Even still.
So,
Just
but that
when
was
the
a
cat died.
that was a moment of culmination for Arya's story, for the most traditional hero journey that
Absolutely.
we've seen.
That and I didn't see it coming. Like the
Right.
whole like
Yeah.
like your sons are here. Your sons are like I thought it was gonna twist somebody else, and
Yeah.
then just the face was like
You didn't see LeBron coming either, though, buddy.
No one saw the
no
coming.
one except
I
you.
texted Sean. I know everything about the NBA and Game of Thrones, and I'm always right.
Yeah.
Because I totally called that too. Lady
You did.
Stoneheart ain't coming, internet.
Yep.
Arya Stark cleaning up all that old work. It was a great moment. She's back. She teleported to.
See the twins.
Yeah, she teleported to the twins. She got there in one episode.
Yeah.
It took. It previously, before this season, took 5, 6, 7 episodes to get across the narrow sea.
Right.
You can do it one episode now.
One episode.
Between a commercial break, maybe by the
Between like
next
two
season.
scenes.
I could
Well,
not believe
it's
that.
it's fast travel. Once you're at point A and point B, you can teleport there with
Yeah,
one
it's just
point.
like Skyrim.
Yeah.
Travel
I
by
enjoy
map.
that. I
Yeah.
enjoy that.
Or there are actually just time skipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Are we gonna talk about the conversations between Littlefinger and
What do you want to say about it, Jesse? Because
Besides
I
the
feel like it
creepy.
was exactly
Yeah.
what it read as, in that he offered her a chance to circumvent John, and she rebuffed it.
Yeah.
And then lived with her decision
Yeah.
through the
well because
declaration of kingship.
it leads
right?
it leads directly into that, which that scene was. Ugh.
Yeah. And can we put together a best of Lyanna Mormont also, who just
So
It just be every scene she's
every
in.
scene she's in. Like,
she just
she's on
'cause
camera,
She could have
Beth.
just
as soon as she stood up, I was like, yes.
yes, we're getting her again.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I would buy the DVDs this time, just to see in like the post, like the exit interviews, them be like, yeah, we knew.
Yeah.
We knew after the first time
Yeah.
she got on that scene that we were gonna have to bring her back. Just like Spielberg said in Jurassic Park, the first time he saw the T-Rex, they knew they had to bring it back for the end of the movie,
Right.
and it was perfect.
Yeah, it was so perfect.
She insults all the men's manhood.
Yeah. She's,
And then they can see to it. Like,
yeah, and I'm like, yeah, well, she's right.
you're right.
Except for the one guy, I forget the younger one of the three that got called out.
Karstark.
Yeah.
Or Serwyn. It was
Yeah,
Serwyn.
yeah. That's what I was say. The Karstarks weren't there.
Yeah.
They straight up betrayed the Starks.
That is in keeping with the Northern Lords through the show and the books have been open to rebuke, and the Lords of the Vale. That's Jan Royce is the big blustery Lord of the Vale that's always going up against Littlefinger.
Yeah.
Nominal steward of the Vale, while young Robert is coming into his
Sure.
his own.
Yeah.
And in the books and in the show, those guys are kind of from the old school, the generation before Ned and Rob, Ned and Robert Baratheon.
Yeah.
The guys that felt really uncomfortable rebelling against the king because they swore vows.
Right.
And when you swear a vow, you don't break a vow.
Sure.
So no matter how old she is, when a young lady calls you out on your honor, you
Right.
have to consider it, and if it's not a true attack, then you say, well, young lady, you're wrong.
Right.
And if it is, then you apologize and
Yeah.
rectify that. And,
Right, and
that's what
they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. And we saw the White Wolf. We saw a new king in the north. So that's the moment that in the books when they declare Rob the king of the north. that I knew I was going to read every single word that George Martin ever wrote.
Gotcha.
And it was a great moment when they crowned Robb in the show, but I didn't know they were going to crown Robb in the books, and I had no idea they were going to crown Jon in the show, and I felt exactly like that. Like the hair on my arms was standing up.
Yep.
I was already pretty pumped from Lyanna Mormont just laying about herself with her acid tongue. Just straight up Wyatt Earping people.
Yeah, and then what? Yeah, and then when the guy with the older guy with the beard,
Waymond
Manderly. Yeah, so big fan favorite from the books, because he did what Arya did, and he baked
Yes.
some phrase into a pie.
Yes.
When sat, shoved his sword into the floor and just proclaimed Jon.
Yeah,
for
and
king.
knelt.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, this
Yeah,
is.
we
this
only
is
know
amazing.
one king, and
Yeah.
that king's a
It's
Stark.
Stark,
And then
yeah.
Sansa and Littlefinger exchanged that
Yeah,
look.
So,
Yeah.
so what is that look? Do you think?
I think that look is, I made my decision and
Yeah.
I'm standing by it.
Yeah, and do you think Littlefinger now is going to try and eliminate Jon?
That's a great question. Now, he's always said that chaos is a ladder,
Right.
and he admitted to Sansa that his final goal was to sit on the Iron Throne.
Yeah.
Now, he still has the King of the North gratitude. Like, Jon owes him a favor, and Robb Stark was clear that the King of the North and then the Trident, when Robb was the King of the Riverlands, ended there. He didn't want anything to do with the South or the West or even the Vale in the East.
Right.
So you could see the argument being said that if the worst that could happen was that Jon would sign a non-aggression pact.
Right. I think though that when Dany gets to Westeros, is gunning for the Iron Throne, and I think the inevitable team up with Jon. And then it's got to all come out eventually that Jon's is part Targaryen. That's got to come out.
Yeah. So
So-
it's going to be really.
That's going to make him an instant threat for any goals that Littlefinger has.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Littlefinger accepts a smaller role, if he does become one of the trusted advisors, which he was to Robert Baratheon, who's a master of coin.
And that's how I got where it got Ned Stark.
Yeah, but if he was going to knuckle under and accept the Targaryens, or if he's going to go down fighting, it doesn't seem like Littlefinger's.
The go down fighting kind of guy.
Yeah, he's not really the go down fighting kind of guy.
Gotcha.
He's in love with Sansa. If Jon
100%.
If Jon is declared the king, Sansa's going to be the lady in Winterfell.
Right.
So he could have a major lordship. In the books, he's granted a swath of land on the Trident too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a minor lord by himself. So I could certainly. It just isn't in Peter Baelish to have small ambitions. I'm more curious for his character than I am any other character. He's the only one who you have no idea where he's going to be.
Right.
You have no idea where he lies. I love it. I love that they're intimating that Sansa might have figured him out.
Yeah.
I interpret that look differently. I saw that more as I told you so. That the little bit I've seen of Sansa in the season, she's no longer content to not have. She thinks she deserves power. So, and when Littlefinger told her, "You're going to be put behind the bastard son, just because he's a son, and I'm offering you the throne."
Oh, that's certainly,
Yeah.
and I think the showrunners are hoping that there's a bit of debate between this.
Right.
Yeah. So I figured it would be that's that kind of look. It's like you wanted the North, he has it.
Yeah, I could have given you the North. He
Yeah.
just took it from you, and I could see that. I don't know how big of a chip Sansa is with a united North behind Jon
Yeah.
Stark.
When they start proclaiming him King of the North, she's smiling. She's actually
Yeah.
And it does slip a little bit in just a great bit of subtle acting.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's what I noticed. That when she looked away, the smile was gone.
And yeah, Jesse, I think that's exactly what they want. The showrunners
Yeah.
are hoping is that we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, how does she feel?
when it's discovered that he's a Targaryen and Stark, and not the true son of Ned Stark, that I think that will cause a bit of divide amongst them.
that's kind of if you want to wrap everything up nice and that the Starks are all four of these people are going to be friends at the end, then yeah, Jon would abdicate to Sansa because he'd have to go. He's got an Iron Throne to sit on.
Yeah.
Right.
And a dragon to ride.
Do you think?
Speaking of dragons,
Damn it.
blood and fire.
I had a question. Too late. It's gone.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course it's gone. We had back to back. We have Liana Mormont and then freaking Olenna Tyrell just cutting wrestling Chris Jericho promos
On the
on the
sand
sand
snakes.
snakes.
It was
Yeah.
like
Be quiet, girl. There's women talking.
Yeah.
Olenna Tyrell, who, by the way, like started out when she was introduced 3 seasons ago as like one of the most prolific actors on the show,
Right.
like one of the most well-known. It was, you know, this just prolific, decorated actress coming onto the show, lending a great deal of weight to it. And in the last 2 seasons, and especially this season, has been just fucking spitting fire.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
she's-
early Eminem.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got her pack of zigzags in this bag of this weed.
it's perfect.
and she's going after Kim.
Well, yeah. So, Jesus, basically, yeah. So, and she didn't want anything to do with Dorne at all. Right?
Yeah. So
she kind of was there
the
on a
Tyrells
courtesy.
in the who have the Reach and the Dornish marches butt up to each other. So
Yep.
they've been engaging in border wars for centuries.
Sure.
Dorne comes from an actual royal line of the First Men, or actually it was the Andals.
Right.
Whereas the Tyrells are stewards. The Gardener King of the Reach was killed by one of the Targaryens, and then the Targaryens appointed a Tyrell to be the master of Highgarden. So
Gotcha.
there's that, but there's way more people in the Reach, and it's way more economically prosperous. So while the Dornish have the pride, the Tyrells have the power.
Gotcha.
So there's always that rivalry. They hate each other. In the books, the Red Viper crippled the heir to Highgarden, and then the heir forgave him.
Okay.
Okay? And they're friends, even though their families effing hate each other. So,
Gotcha.
like, just to give you like some greater context,
Sure.
Olenna Tyrell hates the Martells, and the only reason that she's even there is because that lady's name is Ilaria Sand, not
Right.
Ilaria Martell.
Yeah. Got you. And I don't know, like, so she's there. She's obviously she's in black. She's mourning, right?
Yes.
So,
admits-
some weeks have passed probably.
Yes.
Since the King's Landing blew
Yeah.
up.
Because she acknowledges like
Yeah,
she took
we
she took my
probably
family.
watched like three months transpire in that episode.
Yeah.
At least because it takes what 6 weeks for Varys to get to Dorne.
We have no idea how long it takes to get anywhere now.
Sure,
Araya,
okay.
Araya got to land, on Bear Island by the Mormonts, and then get to the friggin' twins before Varys got a much closer distance.
Right. Who knows? What,
Yeah.
where one of these things are taking place, I guess. But when he walks out, it's just like, oh shit.
Yeah. She says, I have no need of
Yeah.
of reparations.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And she said, well, we can give you what you want. We can
Yeah.
give you your heart's desire. We can
Desire.
give you vengeance. And
Yep.
then Varys walks out and he says, we can give you fire and blood.
Fire and blood.
Oh,
my God.
it's everything. And that was originally a Prince Doran is still alive in the books, and he says that we're going to give them fire and blood.
Right. Thank you for explaining.
It
that.
is 100% more effective coming from Varys,
Yeah.
who has long said that he serves the realm. Someone has to.
Yeah.
And for him to go overseas and bring Tyrion there and set up this great game,
Yep.
which apparently, by the way, is the internet's new phrase.
Great game.
You're in the great game now.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So, when this is all done, who did it better, Littlefinger or Varys, basically?
And yeah, that's it's so those are the two principal figures that you can never really figure out in both narratives in
That
the
are
books and
shaping
the-
everything.
and
Kind of
show.
the general managers of their teams, so to speak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Varys finally in the last season you kind of realized whose team he's on.
Oh, yeah.
But Littlefinger we still don't know.
Yep.
He's still a minor power unto himself in the fact that he's got the Lords of the Vale. They're the only army that hasn't taken the field besides the Dornish.
Right.
So it's really confusing, but what Littlefinger doesn't have is dragons. What he doesn't have is Dothraki.
Oh,
What
yeah.
he doesn't have is Unsullied. He has no fire, he has no blood.
Correct. So I saw a breakdown on the internet of like Team North, Team Danny.
Okay,
Who's left,
yeah,
on the playing field?
I know that our good friend Devin is going to ask about this, so
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and shelve it to another discussion.
Okay.
Because I really want to. There's a great interactive map on the internet that a couple guys from I think MIT made, and Martin's been so he's his specialty is medieval heraldry, which is the art of the flags and stuff.
Got you.
And so he's super authentic about certain things. Obviously not
Dragons.
dragons.
Right.
Or feasibility of cooking geese into pies, which
Sure.
actually happens a lot in the books. But what he is cartography. So cartography was awful in the Middle Ages.
Right.
Before we could really navigate by the stars or anything. So distances are all screwy. You never really know how far away anything is. And so none of his maps in any of the books are drawn to scale.
Okay.
So when these two guys put together their archive of A Song of Ice and Fire and kind of hammered out an estimated map from that, apparently Martin looked at it and was like,
You got it.
it's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
That's all he said.
Okay.
So it's assumed that this is the best facsimile we have.
Okay.
And so I'd love to bring that one in.
Yeah, let's do it.
And we can go over here's where they got to go, here's where we got to go.
Sure.
Here's our four, and then we can do our breakdown of Team North versus Team South versus Team Cersei.
Which is got no
Just
luck.
Cersei.
Literally
Can it
no
really be a
luck.
team if it's just one person?
One versus all.
We'll get into that.
See what I did there?
We'll get into that. She might have a little bit more chance in the Royal Rumble than you think. But, you guys, thanks for joining us here at.
Sean's.
What?
Oh.
Are you done? What?
No.
What's wrong?
Danny on a boat.
Oh my. Okay. Yeah, Danny on a boat.
No.
Okay.
When she's crossing, there are different sigils. I don't know if you noticed that
Yeah.
on the boat, on the boats. So you've got
The Targaryen dragon.
Yep. You've got the sun for the Martells. You've got
You've got the Kraken
the Kraken. Yeah. So for the Iron.
for the Greyjoys.
For the Greyjoys, and then the Tyrells, the Rose. So that's just a quick aside. All of their ships apparently went to Essos, or did they? You think they just painted those on there?
That's a great question for the internet to debate. We haven't seen a single.
It was mentioned that when the ships were getting ready, that the sails were the last thing to be
Painted.
Yeah.
painted.
Right.
So they could have just here's all the houses that are behind us, paint them on. So when we get to
Yeah, as like a token gesture. Here, the sigils they have a right to are the dragon, the Kraken, and the lion
Right.
for Lannister.
Lannister,
That's
right.
it. There's no Starks with them. Jorah Mormont, the only member of the North, is gone.
Yeah, we don't know where he went.
If they took some of the Second Sons do have members of
I feel like we need to see
Westerosi
Jorah.
nobility. I don't think we've seen the end of Jorah.
Yeah.
I'm excited about him. I'm excited about him figuring out how his niece is doing.
Right.
His niece is Lyanna Mormont.
Lyanna Mormont. Yeah, I know. I know. One
And
more-
be like roughly scolded by him. You loved a queen and she didn't love you. You're not a man. And then that sneer.
One more thing about Jon and the Mormonts. So they've been protecting him forever, right? Because he has his sword. It's a gift that was meant for Jorah,
Yeah.
but he got from
Yeah.
the Mormonts. And then when he's taking on Ramsay, I don't know if you saw that, but he lifts his shield and it's the bear. It's the Mormont
No, I
shield.
didn't see that. That's great.
Yeah, so the Mormonts are defending him there, and then Lyanna Mormont is the one who basically makes him king of the North.
Oh, that's great. That's symmetry.
Yeah.
Symmetry and poetry in motion. Speaking of poetry in motion, check out AJ Styles every Monday and Thursday
Or Jeff Hardy.
on Raw and
No.
SmackDown.
No.
Never check out Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, no.
Ever.
It's his
I
move.
thought he was dead.
I know it is.
Guys, this was a lot of fun this week. Thanks, Jimmy and Jesse, for coming to talk about wrestling and for putting up with us talking to Game of Thrones. Buddy,
Yeah.
I was included this time.
I got ideas for the next week.
Okay.
But we'll get to that when we get to that. In the meantime, let's watch some TV. Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's decompress. We'll get back to you with Game of Thrones in a little while, and we'll definitely have a SummerSlam recap show for you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you on the internet. Fire and blood!